All right, there we go. All right, what's up, YouTube? It's your girl Jetty, Empress Jetty, the Rabble Rouser, coming at you all live from the First She Nation Temple in Chester County, Pennsylvania. Ooh, ooh. Super excited about that. Dig it, guys. This morning, I'm gonna do a bunch of these invites, and I know my peoples are like, "Oh, now she want to get back home," because like I had people that were like regularly coming on in the evenings and in the mornings. And then I kind of fell off, but it's okay. I've just been I've just been trying to be sensitive to what's going on at the day in the moment, and some mornings it's just not for me to go on. But you guys, I told you guys I never leave you without anything. I always put content on my page. Some of the prophets that have been speaking into my life, you can always find their content on my page. You can find, sometimes I'll put my flashbacks up there. But if I'm not live and you're like looking in the morning, evening time, you can find something of substance on my page. Like I'm very serious about 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that you can go to my page, which I need to be using Black Enlightenment page more than the Jedi Festival page. But in either case, you can always go to my page and fill yourself, give yourself a little nugget, little nutrition, little spiritual nutrition. Don't scroll past it just because the video is not me, right? Or like, oh, I don't know who this person is, or you see that they only got a little few thousand followers on YouTube or whatever. I post stuff that is tasty. Y'all said if you love me, feed my sheep. So my page, my Facebook page, all my social media, all this is all about the same thing, feeding y'all sheep. So you should be able to, whether it's me personally live or not, you should be able to go to my wall, either the Black Enlightenment or the Jedi Tape Hefzibah page, and you should be able to find yourself a little nutrition. Um, Always look for stuff. I stopped putting lots of, and sorry, I'm just doing invites here. I stopped in, there we go, 2 minutes. I usually do about 3 minutes of invites. So I stop putting a lot of like the building, the eco building stuff, the survivalist stuff up there. But I think I'm going to get back to that because I used to post a lot of that stuff, a lot of van conversion, a lot of tiny house um, stuff, like storage solutions and things like that. Um, but I really haven't done a lot of that lately. I'm going to start to put some of that back up on there because I don't know if you guys can feel it, but times are definitely changing, and I don't know what the transition is going to look like from the uh, from the current world to the new earth. I know that the Most High says everybody's going to feel it, right? Hey, Grand Rising, Leslie, good to see you this morning. I know that the Most High said that everybody is going to feel this shaking, and we're already all feeling it, right? However, Yah chosen will not. We won't feel it like they'll feel it. We'll be watching like how I've been watching and how some of you've been watching, right? We're watching and we're going, holy crap, this world is really falling apart. And then we just proceed with our lives as the Most High commanded our day, right? We're not um, we're not in the state of turmoil and fear and anxiety that the rest of the world is in, because Yah has given us purpose. And first of all, we were warned, okay? We were warned that it was coming. So those of us that listen and obey Yah, we're not freaking out because the Most High told us it was coming. He told us what was coming. He told us it was going to happen, and He told us what signs to look for. And so we're like, oh, guys, it's that time, right? So our own preparation gives us an advantage over over the unbelievers who do not, um, because they don't believe the word of Yah, right? They don't have the spirit of Yah. They don't believe the word of Yah, and so therefore it leaves them very vulnerable. Because in Yah word and instructions is protection, right? I was talking to the wazir, and talking about how Yah word, Yah prophecy, Yah law, all of these things, the whole point, shalom, shalom, brother. The whole point in these things is is our protection. Like think of your house, and I know I've said this on lives before, and maybe people that have been following me for a long time are kind of getting tired of me saying the same stuff. But listen, all John the Baptist said was repent for about 4 or 5 years. So so you gotta give the message you gotta give, right? But like we I don't know, like now I forget what I was gonna say. We have to. My cat is tripping. Lulu's cat. I don't know what he got, but he got something in here. Don't sound right. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. But we've been warned, and we don't have the same concerns as the world, because the Most High, first of all, in his instruction, in his word, he gives us instructions for how to behave. And when we follow his word and when we take refuge in him, then those things that he has devised for the heathen nations, and I know nobody likes to hear that, for the heathen races, I know nobody wants to hear that it's a race issue and that it's a matter of clean and unclean. I know the church and them told everybody that everything's all good, and that as long as you really love God and you really want to be his, then as long as in your heart you believe you are, that you are. But that's a big load of dookie, okay? And it's why this world, who is, I don't know what the percentage of the world population is, you guys can look it up, but it's some ridiculous amount of people who are under the Catholic umbrella, right? Religiously, spiritually speaking, and they are all suffering. Like, look at those nations where the Catholic Church has a stronghold. The Catholic Church, the only one with any money in them nations and stuff, right? So I don't want to get off on a crazy tangent or whatever, but I just want us to be mindful of the times, right? We need to be mindful of the times, which is why I haven't really been super consistent getting on here. I've had things to do. I'm really trying to prepare, because we don't know. The Most High, his word does say that he will make quick work of bringing Babylon down, right? He says he will make quick work of it. But y'all ever had the Most High tell you something's happening like now? And he's like, no, it's happening now. I got it. I did it. It's already done. 4 years later, you come up on the blessing manifesting in your hands. But what you find out was 4 years ago, the Most High situated something so that 4 years later, you would be walking in it, right? So the fact is, he gave the blessing 4 years ago before you ever saw it, right? So if he says, I bless you today, now you're walking in it, or soon it will come to pass. That you're talking about in eternal existing self-created one. So, time is a game. Time's a funny little game to play, right? To an eternal one. And so when you say soon, if you're eternal, soon could be 4 million years. You're eternal. What's 4 million years in eternity? It's nothing. So when the word says that, when Yah says he will make quick work of Babylon, we got to kind of like, okay, what does that mean? But when you look at the scriptures, you know that she's in all of these woes. She's in all of these woes. And then something happens and she gets obliterated. And the only people left standing are Yah chosen ones. And he even goes so far as to say his poor ones, because the fact is, a lot of the people with money will be counting on their money to save them, and then that will eliminate them from Yah protection. Now, that's not to say that we are not to be wise and not to use our money to secure ourselves, but listen, unless the Most High build a house, they did build it in vain. Unless the Most High watch a city, they did watch in vain. They did watch in vain. So a lot of people will be trusting and looking to their wealth to be able to save them, and they think that they love and honor the Most High, but they will abandon the Most High's instructions to move and operate in a way that is more carnal. And so when you look at this like 144,000 number, like every day, first of all, I don't imagine, in all honesty, guys, you guys see me, you guys watch me like live, y'all see it really go down in my life. I don't imagine that, sorry guys, something, a little bite or something on me. I don't imagine that I am more righteous than, like, that I am in the top 144,000 righteous people on the planet. Like, 144,000 is not a lot of people, right? And so that number, that 144,000, some days it's like, man, how do you get to a number that low with all these people? But then some days I'm like, geez, how did you get to 144,000? How'd you find four? Right? And in fact, I just read this morning the 53rd Psalm, and it talks about that, right? Look, guys, I got my blankets coming apart and stuff. I got problems over here. So I was reading the 53rd and 54th Psalm, and that's where the Most High is like none. And he looked down from heaven, and nobody does good. Everybody's ratchet, right? But he talks about they're ratchet, they're evildoers, but he will protect his elect. He's like, I got you. I looked down to see if anybody was going to do you right. Ain't none of them going to do you right. Ain't none of them fear y'all. Don't none of them love me. Y'all say, they don't fear me. They don't love me. They don't consider me. They're all evildoers. He looked down. He said, I don't see nobody. He said, but that's okay. I'm gonna protect mine. I'm gonna protect my chosen ones from all these evildoers. So we already know the deal. We already know, and we don't need the scriptures to tell us that this is a world full of evildoers. Right? Your friends are like, frenemy is the new friend. How many people have actual friends who do not detract from their lives in one way or another? Right? And like, it's a shame because a lot of people have normalized really crappy friendships, And I made a little post about that on Facebook, like, because there was this woman who had like befriended me, and I was like her best friend for about 3 weeks, right? Until I had to call her out on some bullish. Then it's like, then you see the character really come out, right? Then you see the backbiting, you see the undermining start to happen, right? And then the ghosting, right? And like all of this in response to accountability. So I'm like, okay, right? Y'all know I'm real quick with the scissors. Okay, I'll cut you off in a minute. So as I used to say about them, like hairdressers, they're scissor happy. I'm real scissor happy, socially speaking. So I just cut the sister off. Like, okay, well, if that's how you got to act about accountability, girl, you can take that on somewhere, And then, like, so people do these things, they want to transgress, and then they want to circle back around, like, ain't nothing happened, this and that, and they have the expectation that because you have a friendly acquaintance, that means that you have some obligation to continue to deal with them, that when they knock on your door or call your phone, that you have to answer. And we don't, because the wheat and tares have come up together, but now is the shaking. If you don't know now is the shaking, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not here for you. If you are somewhere and you're still asking yourself, could this possibly be the beginning of the end times or something like that? Like, I can't help you. We are in the throes of this thing. This is not like, oh, the end times are getting ready to start. We're in the throes of this thing. And maybe one of these times I'll go through all of the revelations, imagery that's through the scriptures, right? That would be a really cool study to do with someone. But, the vials have been poured out. The waters have been mixed. The bowls have been poured, or the vials have been broken. The waters have been mixed. The bowls have been poured. Like, there's all these imagery for the thing that have been released upon the realm to set it back in order. It is what it is. If you're paying attention, it done happened. And so we're in the middle of it. And so I know that I've like been 15 minutes and haven't even really gotten quite into the subject of what I want to talk about. I have, but I haven't. I want to talk about reincarnation. I want to talk to those of you who are in this place where you think that the things that are happening to you are evil because you're starting to remember, you're starting to see spirituality very differently than the dogma or religion that you came up in, right? And your third eye is like wide open. You're starting to like see what's unseen. You're starting to hear what's unspoken, right? And you somewhere praying and asking the Most High to take it from you and calling it the devil. And what is happening? Thank you, sweetie. And what is happening though is you're remembering right? You're remembering. Now, the holy race, Yah's chosen ones, the holy race, first of all, we are a race. We are a race of people. Now, it's not really defined the way that we define race in this society, but you should understand that the Most High operates in people groups, right? There are genetic and spiritual karmic groups that the Most High operates in, right? And for the most part, even though there's been a lot of mixing, for the most part, those groups are mostly still intact. Like those soul groups are, when I say they're mostly intact, what I mean is you can still find pure samples of that karma, of those bloodlines, right? Not necessarily the pure blood, but you can find an unbroken chain of the karmic movement, right? Like I come from a line of revolutionary warriors, right? And it's like you're going to find it. You're going to find it in my lineage, right? So each generation, someone is born of that vein into our bloodlines, right? Because that's a karmic force that is moving through our family, right? So that's what I mean when I say that those things are they're still there, right? But what happens is, to prevent you from trauma, you forget each past life, right? You each life you start as if it's a fresh start. But in the end times, that breaks down, right? And so I wanted to read a scripture to you that might help you if you're in that place of like, am I starting to go crazy? You hearing ancestors now, you hear spirits. You need me? Yeah, sure. You hearing ancestors, right? You make sure your brother's up. You're hearing spirits, right? You're seeing spirits. You look at people and you like, why does that lady look weird? Why does she look like alien? Or why does that one look like a squirrel? Or why do you starting to see people's spiritual form and all of this stuff? And you're starting to, when you read or listen to stuff on history, you listen and it feels really personal, like you get really emotional about it because you're remembering those times. Or they'll say stuff and you'll be like, that don't sound right. Why? Because the historians don't know as much about that era as you do, right? So when you hear stuff and you're like, boom, boom, it's like how they always want to make everything about child sacrifice, right? In like whenever they see an altar in old world, like in archaeology, it's always about child sacrifice. And sometimes you're just like, that's not what they were doing there. Like that was definitely not about child sacrifice. Like we piled roses there, you know what I mean? Like whatever. And you're starting to remember, right? So I see I lost my one viewer on Facebook. That's kind of funny, but that's okay. I'm going to keep going because hopefully some you guys will watch these on your own time if you're not in the room live, which no one is. So the scripture comes from 2nd Baruch, right? And it's 2nd Baruch, chapter 75. And I'm just going to read the whole chapter. It's really short, okay? And I asked Yahweh, who can understand your goodness? For it is incomprehensible. Who can look into your compassions, which are infinite? Who can understand your intelligence? Who is able to explain the thoughts of your mind? Who of those born can hope to attain those things unless to him are merciful, unless to him are merciful and gracious? Certainly, if you did not have compassion on those who are under your right hand, they could not come to those things. Only those who are in the numbers you named can be called. We who exist know why we have come, and so we submit ourselves to him who brought us out of Egypt. We will come again and remember those things which have passed. We will rejoice in what has been. But if we do not know why we have come, and if we do not recognize the kingdom of him who brought us up out of Egypt, we will have to come again and seek after those things which have been now. We will be grieved with pain again because of those things which have befallen. So what's that saying is that when we remember why we've come and we honor the Most High, and we remember that we're here to be the eternal kingdom, right? Like I was talking about that karmic thread, right? We are the kingdom of Yah. We are why the kingdom is eternal, because there should always and will always be someone here in this realm who honors Yah. Even if it just goes down to one person, that keeps that kingdom an eternal kingdom, but it's not going to go down to one person. But if it were, that one person would know and understand that their purpose is to continue to demonstrate spiritual soundness in the realm, which is all that the kingdom of Yah is spiritual soundness, right? And so when you remember, then you just pick back up where you're supposed to be in that process, right? So you're like, oh yeah, that's right. Let me get back to work, right? Oh, I was an educator. Oh, I was a warrior. Oh, I was dealing with water filtration. Whatever, you're going to start to like, and a lot of times like your life is already doing the thing that you're doing, but you just don't have a spiritual understanding of it, right? Because we think that spirituality and life are separate. We think that church and state are separate. So as long as we keep fracturing everything in that way, then we don't come into our fullness as spiritual beings, right? And so this is clearly telling us that we come again, right? We come back in the ages, right? We submit ourselves to him who brought us out of Egypt. Every age there's an Egypt, guys. There's always an Egypt, by the way. There's Egypts in your life. You need to understand these things are literal and what's the word? What's the word? Like symbolic, right? Or that's not the word that they like to use. They like to use the word whatever, symbolic words, right? So it's talking about like in real life. So these Egypts that the Most High brings you out of, you remember to honor him, right? And then you will rejoice. You'll rejoice in what has happened and what has been, because you know that, like, okay, when you think of Egypt, you're not going to think of how hard Egypt was. You're going to think of how gloriously Yah brought you out. So if you remember and stay on your assignment, which is to demonstrate and live and be the kingdom of Yah, right? Then you glory in the memory of the path, because you know that the Most High takes you from glory to glory, right? He takes you from one really cool demonstration to the next, right? But if you don't know why you're here and you don't recognize the kingdom of Yah who brought us up out of Egypt, then you'll come again and you'll seek after those things which have been, but you'll be grieved. You'll always be grieved in spirit because you're lost. You're down here doing who knows what. You're not connected to the karmic thread that sustains you, the karmic thread of Yah grace, mercy, and miracles, right? So when you let go of that comprehension of it, right, you're still going to come back if you're among these saints, but you got to come among the chosen, right? Because remember, he said that there's only the numbers that he named can be called, and it goes to speaks of them, right? So these are still the chosen that are going to come back. But if you fall off and you miss your assignment, which is to demonstrate the kingdom of Yah, when you fall off and miss that assignment, now you're going to have woes. All of your history is going to be woes, woes, woes. So that which you remember from this age and the last are going to traumatize you, because you will have lost sight of life. You will only have sight of death. That's like sin consciousness. We're not even supposed to have a sin consciousness. Why do we even need a sin consciousness? If we move in authenticity and wisdom, you don't need sin consciousness, right? It's kind of like that. So I know that people are always like, I know I say a lot of stuff and people are like, well, that's not in the Bible. That's not in the Bible. First of all, we go beyond the Bible around here. Okay. I like the scriptures that Yeshua was reading. I want to read the scriptures, that That's what I want. I want to read the same scriptures that Yeshua had his hands on, right? That's what I want. And so that's what I do. Of course, I'd have to broaden my library collection because, as I've been telling you guys for years, Yeshua traveled all over the world teaching and learning with the sages and the greats and everybody. And he, you know, he can be found in many, many world religions or spiritual systems, if you will, because he is who he is, right? But he did a world tour of like monasteries and these things, like from the time he was young, for many years, up until his 30s. He was traveling the world. And so you have him infused into these spiritual systems. You have him infuse correction in these different spiritual systems. So you'll see they're going this way and he'll be like, yeah, that's true, but this over here is not what's up. Or that's true, but what about this, where he troubleshoots the different world religions during that time. So you have these stories, you have these oral traditions and stories that will say that we were merrily going along, and then this really deep cat came and like shook our whole faith up. So that's what that's about. But anyway, I don't want to keep you guys. We're at 26 minutes. Yes, nice. Going to be under 30. Y'all be glorified, magnified, and praised. You all have the most excellent day, right? If you haven't already, please go to the YouTube channel, Black Enlightainment. Check out the playlist there entitled The Culture. Those are original songs by me. Tell me what you think. If you like or even if you don't like them, you can give thumbs down. There's nothing wrong with that. And with that, I think I'm out of here. I'll try to get on tonight, guys. We'll see. I think I'll be back on my little schedule, get back on tonight. And maybe we'll look at, well, who knows what the Most High will have us to do. I know that we were still reading, where were we reading? The life of Saint Isa we were in, I think, but that we never finished reading that book or whatever. But we'll be on tonight, guys, Yah willing, and I'm not sure if we'll come from here or from the, and by the way, for those of you that I typically show, this is the Encyclopedia of Lost and Rejected Scriptures. It includes, I'll read to you guys, we got a couple minutes. I'll read to you all the books that it includes. Lost Scriptures of the Old Testament. First book of Adam and Eve, second book of Adam and Eve, first book of Enoch, second book of Enoch, third book of Enoch, Jubilees, Jasher. Apocalyptic writings, Apocalypse of Abraham, Apocalypse of Thomas, second Baruch, the War Scrolls. Section 3, the Lost Scriptures of the New Testament, the Gospel of Philip, Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Apocryphon of John, the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Judas, Acts chapter 29. Section 4, the life and times of Jesus, Infancy Gospel of James, Infancy Gospel of Thomas, Life of Joseph the Carpenter, the letters of Pilate, the letters of the life of Saint Isa, and the Apocrypha, First Ezra, Second Ezra, First, Second, Third, and Fourth Maccabees, letter of Jeremiah, prayer of Azariah, First Baruch, prayer of Manasseh, Bel and the Dragon, wisdom of Sirach, the wisdom of Solomon, additions to Esther, Tobit, Judith, Susanna, Psalms 151, First Clement, Shepherd of Hermes, and the Didache. So that's all the books in here that the compilers of your Bible said you don't need, right? So that's what I'm reading from. I ordered this on Amazon. I guess it's about $50. Another one that I suggest you get that I need to order, that I had a copy, but it's gone, is the Essene Gospels of Peace. For those of you who are Messianic, you follow the Messiah, you should know that there are lots of schools that teach what he taught, right? And then none of them are the church. So the Essene Gospels of Peace is really beautiful stuff. But anyway, we're at 29 minutes. So it's your girl, Jedi, Empress Jedi, the Rabble Rouser. Thanks for tuning into the morning session. We will see you guys tonight, Yah willing. All right? Shalom. Have a blessed day.